Nayib Bukele fue ovacionado durante su participación en foro en los Estados Unidos. En declaraciones a la prensa señaló que la administración demócrata de Joe Biden no tiene a El Salvador dentro de sus prioridades, como sí la tuvo el republicano Donald Trump. El presidente de la República, Nayib Bukele, fue ovacionado antes, durante y después de su discurso del jueves pasado en Washington, de los Estados Unidos, al participar en la Conferencia Política de Acción Conservadora, el foro de conservadores más grande e influyente del mundo. Desde la presentación oficial, previo al inicio de su alocución, Bukele recibió la ovación del público en el auditorio, que también coreó su apellido y se puso de pie en varias ocasiones para aplaudir su mensaje.
Thank you very much. Gracias.
El recibimiento dado al jefe de Estado salvadoreño no pasó desapercibido por los medios de prensa internacionales y por los organizadores del evento que cada año se lleva a cabo en suelo estadounidense. Los asistentes de la CPAC se presentaron en cantidades enormes para unirse al presidente Nayib Bukele en nuestra lucha contra el globalismo, escribió la CPAC en X. La agencia AP, por su parte, en una nota sobre la intervención del mandatario salvadoreño subida en su cuenta de X, destaca, entre otras cosas, que el presidente de El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, recibió una bienvenida de estrella del rock el jueves en una reunión conservadora en las afueras de Washington, cuando instó a la gente a luchar sin pedir disculpas contra lo que llamó fuerzas oscuras. Tras un mensaje, Bukele se dirigió al público para interactuar con los asistentes, que de paso aprovecharon el momento para tomarse fotografías. El jefe de Estado también fue ovacionado a la salida del evento por salvadoreños y ciudadanos de otros países, quienes lo esperaban para saludarlo y registrar con sus teléfonos el momento. El jefe de Estado también se pronunció sobre las relaciones del gobierno de El Salvador con la administración del presidente estadounidense Joe Biden. Nosotros siempre hemos estado dispuestos a trabajar, pero creo que no está en las prioridades de la administración actual. Estados Unidos siempre es nuestro primer socio, manifestó el mandatario. El gobernante recordó que durante la administración del expresidente Donald Trump del Partido Republicano se desarrollaron mejor las relaciones. Era la administración de Donald Trump mucho mejor, había más interés de parte de ellos, indicó Bukele.
I'm here to tell you that in El Salvador, it's already dead. But if you want globalism to die here too, you must be willing to unapologetically fight against everything and everyone that stands for it. Fight for your freedoms. Fight for your rights. The next president of the United States must not only win an election, he must have the vision, the will, and the courage to do whatever it takes. And above all, he must be able to identify the underlying forces that will conspire against him. These dark forces are already taking over your country. You may not see it yet, but it's already happening. You don't see it as clearly because people are designed to see linear changes, not exponential ones. We don't always recognize how fast a problem can multiply and spiral out of control. The problem is much like the metaphor of the boiling frog. Once the water boils, it's already too late. People fail to see these things. It's our nature. Just like the frog, people become complacent and they don't realize how bad things are getting until it's too late. While I know, of course, El Salvador is a lot smaller country, setting aside the differences, there's a similarity with what is happening here in the United States. We also had many apparently isolated problems in the 60s and the 70s, and we failed to realize as a country the severity of them until it became a civil war. By the time we reacted, it was already too late. We were already boiled like the frog. And it took us 50 years, 2 wars, 250,000 lives, and a third of our population displaced, and a near miracle to get our country back.
And you.
As your friend, I want to issue this warning so you don't make the same mistakes we did in the 60s and the 70s. It is not easy to pull yourself back once you're in boiling water. In fact, all the experts said it was impossible. And besides, you don't want to wait 50 years and maybe hope for a miracle to get out of hell. You can still jump before the water boils. Some might say I'm exaggerating, but we can clearly see the signs of a declining society because our own hit rock bottom decades ago. It's like when we see someone getting sick. First, it's maybe just stomachache, or a headache, or a small fever. But if you don't deal with the disease, it will only get worse, and then it may be too late. These corrupt judges and prosecutors were setting the gang members free.
And Nancy Pelosi.
And it wasn't just the gangs. The corrupt system worked in tandem with the so-called international community, the NGOs, and of course the fake news, just like it happens here in the United States. Unelected bureaucrats are trying to instate public policy. Who elected them? They don't have a democratic mandate. If they want a seat in the table, they should run for office. Let the people vote. It will not be a pretty sight for them if the elections are free and fair. I mean, who elected Soros to dictate public policy and laws? Why does he feel entitled to impose his agenda? Let me tell you something. Soros and his cronies hit a brick wall in El Salvador. Thank God, and all the glory be to him, Salvadorans are now immune to his influence. No one believes his lies anymore over there. We just had free and fair elections. And we won in a landslide with more than 84% of the vote. Let that sink in. More than 84% of the people voted to continue our policies. Our victory is unprecedented in the history and modern democracies in the world. They also gave us a supermajority in Congress, more than that. 54 seats out of 60. $57 if we count our allies. That's 95% of Congress. Let that also sink in. The people of El Salvador have woken up, and so can you. The global elites, they hate our success, and they fear yours. The people's free will to choose their leaders is something they despise because they cannot control that. You have experienced this firsthand here in the United States. The global elites control the mainstream media, they finance campaigns, district attorneys, to mention a few. They abuse their powers. They persecute political opponents. In El Salvador, we don't weaponize our judicial system to persecute our political opponents. A practice that may sound familiar to you, but we don't do that there. And who's the dictator?